Hello, it's June 2023, and before I get into this video, I want to be very clear that I am not taking a dig against any type of authority, and any type of authority can range from government to law enforcement, education, medical even. This is not a dig towards any profession or any individuals. But I really just want to reiterate something that I've mentioned over many, many years. And it's going to segue into a couple other subtopics. Now, I've said that any position of authority is not something that an individual seeks out. The people who seek out to have authority, and authority can even include, as I've stated even in more recent videos, having a title or a degree or something, which allows people to have at least the perception that their opinion carries more weight. I digress. People should not seek out any type of position of authority, but the people who do, and they might even convince themselves that it's some sort of divine calling or something like that, you have to ask, why do they have that need to have some sort of authority over others? Again, this is a very broad brush that I'm painting here, and it has to do with control. And to control an individual, a group, society, or even a civilization overall, people seek to have power. Now, most common people, the common person, the commoner, just want to get through life, work, achieve something, build something, do something constructive, spend time with family and friends, enjoy life. But there are a handful of people in this world that want to have control. Now, that's very dangerous, because the more you control something, the less control you have. And when you try to control something, you end up losing control. Now, I've discussed and even done videos about, for example, you have the beta and omega types in society, which is the majority. The more ambitious ones obtaining various positions of authority to have control, to have their opinions carrying more weight perceived. And the problem that arises when these people, for example, are the alpha types, when they have to interact with them, and the betas and omegas are in a position of control, but they know that the person that they're dealing with is, I'm going to use this as a descriptive, above them. And they have this natural instinct to avoid having to deal with these types of people. But they have to, because of their position, for example. And then we see the underlying fear, and then chaos to the destruction of someone's life, or even the taking of their life because of fear. I've highlighted, for example, Michael Wood Jr., a police officer, whistleblower, who said that people who obtain positions with law enforcement, just because you have a badge and a gun doesn't mean you're not afraid. So people want to achieve some sort of control. You see this a lot with politicians. You see this a lot with social justice movements. And the social justice movements are being inspired and controlled by other people, say, for example, in political positions. And they allow these things to happen. And they're trying to get control, and what's happening is the devastation of that control. And we can look at, for example, different forms of government around the world where it becomes very devastating to the population of that, for example, country. And it's about control, and that control, that need to have that control, is based on fear, or even, for example, a feeling of inadequacy. And especially over the past several years, a lot of people are frustrated. They're trying to grasp on to some sort of hope, whether even if it's false hope. They're trying to grasp onto something because they're dealing with what I call the invisible foe. Whether it be a political pressure, a legal pressure, some sort of pressure that's not tangible, that you can't see. It's all in the mind. And there are people who keep saying over and over that we manifest our reality, which is nonsense. You can't manifest anything. You can have a certain amount of control over your life with, for example, wanting to achieve something, to build something, things like that. Yes, it's up to the individual, but overall reality, there's no control. And then you also have to factor in when other people have their own agendas, say to silence someone, to destroy someone, to interfere with someone's life for whatever reason. It could be something as simple as jealousy on, say, in a personal perspective, or professionally from other colleagues, or even trying to expand on this a little bit, a threat to whatever establishment that profession is in. So we have people wanting to control, and we see the devastating consequences. We see the frustration and the fear building up in people. And I've said, especially over the past several years, but even before, how online forums and social media groups and everything else are allowed because it allows people to vent. And this venting, I'm going to use the analogy, for example, when you look at a fighter and you see them ranting and how much better they are than the person that they're going to fight, and they just blow off all this steam, and then when it comes time to step in the ring, they've already deflated themselves to the point where they lose, because you have the deflation through venting, then you have underestimating your opponent, and so forth. So these things are allowed, and I've highlighted that. And society overall, and I've done videos specifically to this, they are drawn towards individuals who are like mind, at the same status, the same level, because they can relate. And then these people feed the addiction, for example, of negativity, reiterating things that most people just simply reiterate. Now, there's two sides. We're going to break this down real simple. There's two sides to this camp. You have mainstream people types, and you have the alternative types. The alternative types will look at mainstream and say, well, look at all these NPCs and everything else. But there's also the NPCs on the alternative side. People, say, for example, who are not buying official narratives and who want to go against whatever's being imposed. Now, I'm not stating what's being imposed is right or wrong. That's not the point. The point is there's NPCs on both sides. And people are drawn towards that. People like that because they feed. And you have what I call online celebrities who simply give the people what they want to hear, really offering nothing but just reiterating, keeping the pot boiling, allowing an opportunity for people to vent. nothing's accomplished, nothing's really offered other than that. Now, I've said many times not to be consumed by anything on any topic, which means to let go of things that you can't control. And for example, what's been happening in the world the past several years, there's no changing it. There's a higher agenda happening here. And you have people stating that, I'm going to try to loosely quote what I recently heard. The government is being poorly run and all this other stuff, and everything's being run as planned. I've said many times in print and in videos where ultimately the people who are imposing something start and end world wars. And that's the power these people have. But to contrast that, it's like talking about the weather, complaining about the weather. Well, we got to stop the weather. And there are stories, whether they're true or not, that's not the point, where even that is trying to be controlled. You see, for example, people trying to control the environment by introducing, we see this more, for example, in history, more recent history, where they introduce a species of animal to control another species of animal that they deem a nuisance, and then that new species as it was introduced causes havoc because of the control, and you end up losing control. But society overall, I'm going to focus for a moment here on the alternative side. They have their online celebrities, which they follow, because these people feed. And there's even, I don't even know how to categorize people who are not online celebrities but are kind of, or who have, overnight sensations or whatever you want to call them. They simply reiterate negativity, feeding that addiction. And it is an addiction. Really offering nothing insightful, in fact, in offering maybe false hope and missing the deeper picture of everything. And that's based on their knowledge base and life experience and everything else. I'm not saying anything bad even about these people. I'm just saying this is the world that we live in. And I've shared in a handful of videos over time how I know I was approached around 2011 2 times. The second time face to face, just randomly, to be an online celebrity. And I was asked, what do I talk about? They said, whatever you want. But there was a but. I said no. I gave up that opportunity because I wanted to help, and I kind of still do want to help the common person. But, I've mentioned in videos where people have asked, for example, do I regret it? And I kind of do and I don't. It's kind of a mixed feelings for me, because I wonder if the common person's worth it. Because a lot of times people, you say the wrong thing and then boom, you're erased. And that's the world we live in. That's the common person. And I've talked about the cycles of civilization, the patterns within, and how fragmented, there's no cohesion, how fragmented we are. Anyway, I just offer information, most of the time first-hand information with a plethora of independent evidence. Take what you will from it. just wanted to give you some things to think about. Control. And how devastating control is on any level, on any topic. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.